The magic X method.
Wait. Can I ask him a appropriate question?
No. Magic X method.
What?
So, we take.
Don't ask that near me.
Yeah.
Don't associate me with that.
We take this.
I know we're live. That's why I asked it.
And we plug it into this thing. Now, you don't need the actual X to do this, right? You can calculate it on your own, but the X helps you remember, I suppose, sort of, right? We multiply A times C, right? And take B. Ladies and gentlemen, I need your focus now. Ladies and gentlemen, I need your focus because I'd rather not teach this twice. All right? Quiz Friday.
Yeah. That's scary. I know.
So, shut up and listen. AC goes in the top, B goes in the bottom. We want the numbers that multiply to A times C and add to B.
Did we write this?
Then we divide those by A. After we simplify, the denominators are the coefficients of X, and the numerators will be the additional number out here, right? Your constants. Factors. So factors of AC, right? That add to B. Right? The numbers that multiply to this and add to that, basically. Right? Right? Except it's going to be AC because there's an A greater than 1. Okay? So let's practice using this method. Let's look at our factoring trinomials greater than 1 worksheet. First problem, number 1, says 3p. I'm going to change all of the letters to X. That way I don't get yelled at. Oh, no. That's a P. Letters are hard, guys. Where's the hard math easy? Kobe. Guys, we respect Kobe. Wow, the jokes are really good today. This is all recorded live for everybody to hear. This is great. Someone made a joke that was sort of almost funny, and everyone was like, I'll make my own version. I'll say it right now. Okay, so what's A, what's B, and what's C? What's A in number 1? 3. What's B? Negative 2. What's C? Good. So magic X method. AC goes in the top. What's A times C? Negative 15. In the bottom, what goes in the bottom? B, negative 2, right? We want the numbers that multiply to negative 15 and add to negative 2. So we're going to list the factors of negative 15. Well, we've got 1 and 15. We've got 2, 3, and 5. 4? What about 5? Oh, we already got it, right? So we're good, right? We repeated ourselves, right? So those are our factors. Now, one of them is going to be positive, one is going to be negative, right? Guaranteed. So, these guys, which ones are going to add to negative 2? 3 and 5. Now, which needs to be positive, which needs to be negative?
Is it negative 15 or normal 15?
Negative 15.
Because you did any negatives like that for the factors.
I know. I wrote them all positive. We know one has to be positive, one has to be negative, right? What? Yeah. Are you with me now? This is why I don't like passing the stapler around, because you guys can't handle two things at once. All right, so it's wonderful. So numbers that multiply to 15, right? Negative 15, and add to negative 2. 3 and 5 are the right answer. Now, which needs to be negative, which needs to be positive? Negative 5. So I'm going to write minus 5 over here and 3 over here. Doesn't matter which way you do it, right? Now, we're supposed to divide those by A, which is 3. If we can reduce, we should. Can we reduce this one? What about this one?
Yes.
We reduce it, it's still 1 over 1, right? Because we need that denominator and numerator. So our answer is going to be 3 and 1 are our coefficients of x, right? So 3x and 1x. And then our numbers are minus 5 and plus 1. The question is, why does this work? We're going to investigate this next week. For now, we're going to accept it as truth, okay?
what our test is.
Now, does this get to this? It's part of what your test is. Yeah.
Sweet.
Does it go back to this? Let's check it. 3x times x. 3x times 1. Negative 5 times x. So we have 3x minus 5x. So far so good. Minus 5 times 1. Checks out. That's what we started with, right? So this is the right answer. Now, question. The whole reason we factor is to figure out where the x-intercepts are. In other words, when does this equal 0? If I asked you this, you'd be like, I don't know, I'll try numbers, right? For this, it's much easier. When will this equation equal 0? What numbers do x have to be? We have two options. If I plug in 0, I get 1 minus 5. Times them together, I get negative 5. Nope. What numbers do x have to be for this whole thing to be 0? Well, it's multiplication, right? Something times something. Think of two numbers that multiply to make 0. I bet one of them 0, right? 0 times 5, 0 times 2, right? We need to make one of these guys 0. So when is x plus 1 0? When x is, well, if it's 1, it's 2. Negative 1. Because if that's negative 1, negative 1 plus 1 is 0. 0 times 2 cares is 0, right? Well, what about this one? When is 3x minus 5 0? Well, if you need to do algebra, set it equal to 0, move over the 5, divide by 3, right? When does this equal 0? Well, move over the 5, divide by 3, whoops, divide by 3. Turns out 5/3, right? Now, you're clever. Something times 3 minus 5. So, whatever this is needs to be a 5, right? 5 minus 5 is 0, right? How do I make, what do I do to get 3 times, what do I do to 3 to make it a 5? Well, I multiply it by 5/3, right? Because 3 divided by 3 times 5, right? Are you small enough to if you need to, write it out, right? Figure out when does this need to be 0, right? What do I need, right? But if not, 5/3, done. Yeah.
On the test, will we need to know like the part when it says it equals 0, or just like the part before that?
All of it.
We have to be x's.
Yep. So the question is when does this guy equal 0? When x is negative 1. If you can't figure that out, ask yourself, when does that equal 0? When x is negative 1, right? When does this equal 0? Well, that. And again, if one of them 0, the other becomes 0, right? Do we get that, right? Because it's multiplication.
Wait, why would the other x be 5/3?
Why is it 5/3? Well, if one of these is 0, it doesn't matter what this is, right?
Yeah.
Because 0 times anything is 0. So when is this 0, I asked? Well, I add 5, divide by 3. When x is 5/3, this equals 0. Because 5/3 times 3 is 5, minus 5 is 0. Right? Yeah.
Is it the same as like the factors divided by a, or just opposite? Or is that just opposite?
The signs almost always will be opposite, yes. Right? If this was a negative up here, then it wouldn't, but yeah, yeah. Okay, so that's it for this one. Let's do a couple more.
Yay.
Let's look at number 2. All right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite with this x's, because, like, who cares?
Why are you so zoomed?
Why are we bullying Jace?
Preston, you're the most bizarre person I've ever met, so.
Wait.
Like, Preston, if they were casting for bench warmers, they'd be like, get that man. Get that man. Howie! All right. So, how do we solve a problem like Maria? Ah, I did it again. X word. That's an X, not an N. All right. Magic X method. In the top goes AC. What's A times C?
Negative 18.
We actually can't see.
Ooh. Ooh. And what goes in the bottom?
3.
3. In other words, factors of this guy add up to this, right? So what are our factors of negative 18? Well, 1 and 18. 2 and?
This is why we don't zoom in.
2 and 9. 3 and 4?
Yes.
No! 5? No. 6? Oh, but we already got it. Ready? Oh! Now, which one of these is going to add to 3?
3.
3 and 6 are separated by that. Now, one of them's got to be negative, right? What's going to be negative?
Negative 3.
-3, right? So positive 6 minus 3. And then we have to divide it by a. What's our a value for this problem? Do it reduce? It do. Yeah.
You're not my
Does it
friend.
matter what factor you put, what factor you put on the side?
It does. It has to be numbers that multiply to negative 18 and add to 3. See how 6 minus 3 is 3?
Okay, but like, could you put the -3 on the left?
No. Now, if we had negative 6 and positive 3, that would change it, right? But yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. All right, guys. So this reduces. So our answer is going to be a single x and then double x, right? From here and here. You with me?
Yeah.
All right, this one reduced, so the 1, right? And it's going to be positive 3 and minus 3. Now, we got to check to make sure this goes back the way it came, right? We should double check that. I get 2x squared from this. Check. I get negative 3x, positive 6x, 3x. Minus 3 times positive 3, minus 9. Preston, I swear to God, I will kick you out of here. All right. So the question is, when does this equal 0? They didn't ask it up here, right? But it will be when x equals negative 3, and when x equals what? What makes this 0? Can you do it in your head?
No.
Something times 2 has to be 3. Because when this is 3, we do 3 minus 3 and get 0. 3 over 2. So 3 over 2, right, if I were to plug that in, 3 divided by 2 times 2 is just 3, right? And 3 minus 3 is 0. Now, if you don't know it, ask yourself, when is that 0? 3/8. Now, this won't be 0 when we add 3/8 in here, but who cares, right? 0 times anything is 0. So those are our two answers. Our parabola crosses at negative 3 and 3/2.
Oh, it's right there. This is all the test's gonna be on Friday?
Can you slide over
No,
to
it's
the
No.
other
what we
one?
learned last week.
Like real quick, because I didn't get the x equals, like, you know, to the
It gets so warm.
where the heck are we? Where's the, what about the first one?
The first one I did on here.
Oh, can I see that again then? Because I need that, like where it says the 2 x's and then
All right, we're going to review for the quiz tomorrow. It's going to contain this on it. It's going to be when a is greater than 1 and when it's not greater than 1, meaning it's just 1, right?
We're having a quiz tomorrow?
Not tomorrow. We're going to review for it tomorrow. Quiz on Friday, right? It's going to have stuff like this on it, the stuff where a equals 1, right?
What A does equals 0.
And it's going to have graphing parabolas a little bit. We'll talk about that, okay? We've done it the last 2 weeks. Everything we've done the last, wait, no. Did we have a quiz last Friday? No, last 2 weeks' work. That's what we're doing, okay? Okay?
I'm taking the rest of mine tomorrow.
What? Okay, these is good. Let's do 3.
Yes.
What's your question, Preston?
Can we take, third quarter test and fourth quarter?
No. Grade locks. I've been telling you that, man. I've been trying to tell you that.
Yeah, I admit.
What?
The last test would be.
This is the last quiz of the quarter.
No, like the last one. Like the last one you took.
The last day.
The last time you took the test.
3 weeks ago?
Is that it?
I think so.
Is that it?
Like when the grades gonna be.
Oh, when are the grades going to be in for the quiz 3? Oh, the one you took? Oh, it will be. I get you guys last, your 7th hour. Sorry, it will be. I've been here until like 6 most nights, working with kids, and then I go home and work for 2 more. And then after that, I'm like, you know what? I've worked 14 hours today. I'm going to stop. So I'm a little behind on plugging those in. I apologize for that. Yeah, that's what happens when everybody's doing retakes. Yeah.
You plug in your hours too while you're at home?
No, I can't plug them in even after 3. I don't get paid after 3, guys, or before 8. So I do this for free. I do it for free. And in theory, it's recorded, so you don't need me, right? But none of you guys watch this. God bless you for coming in and getting help. All right? So, That's fine. That's totally fine. That's why the reason I do my job is to help kids. I don't mind helping kids after school. I hate grading. I hate all that stuff. I want to be here to help.
Just Sarah.
Here we go.
Bring it to $2. I can grade this kid.
What goes in the top?
All right,
AC, which is
12.
3 and 4.
3 times 4 is 12. And what goes in the bottom?
Negative 8.
Cool. Now we need factors of 12. Let's list them.
2, 3, 4, and stop.
Okay. Right? Because then I check 4 and X, and I've already done 4. Right?
6 and 3.
So, now which one of these are going to add to negative 8? 2 and 6. Yeah. They got to be both negative. Now we divide them by A, which is 3. Right? One of them reduces. Remember, keep it in fraction form because we need that denominator, right? So we can use the denominators. Remember, the denominators are what go in front of X. So Jace, that means the 3 is going to go in front of the X, and a 1 is going to go in front of this X. That's what the denominators are for. And then minus 2 and minus 6. Notice that 3 goes with the X, so negative 2 goes on this side, right? And 1 and negative 2 go on, oops, sorry, what did I do? 3 and negative 2, 1 and negative 2. I did minus 6, my bad. This guy. Those are the guys I want. 1x minus 2. 3x minus 2. Now let's check our work. 3x squared checks out, right? Negative 6x minus 2x minus 8x, right? Plus 4.
That is some nice mark.
So when does this equal 0? When x is what? Give me the easy one. When x is what? Positive 2, right? Because 2 plugged in gets 0. What happens over here? I don't care, right? Because 0 times anything is 0.
X equals 6.
It's 2 over 3.
2 over 3.
Oh,
Because 3 divided by 3 is 1, times 2 is 2, minus 2 is 0. You can also just add 2 to the other side and divide by 3 in your head. Move the 2 over, divide by 3, 2/3. Yeah.
Is a plus x always going to be like the opposite of what it is? Like in the problem it says negative 2, but in the I don't know.
point it out to
Oh, this guy?
Yeah.
Well, this would be, because right when you plug in 2, you get 0. Don't try to memorize. Guys, do not try to memorize. It's the opposite. No, because that's an exception, right? Also, if you memorize it, the opposite of something, well, the opposite of what, right? You're going to get confused, and then you're going to forget. Is it the opposite or the same thing? Don't memorize, because the longer time goes on, if you memorize, your memory gets worse, right? Understand, so over time it gets better, right? Why do I need... What am I looking for here? When does this equal 0? I can figure that out any day, right? Any day. I don't have to memorize any crap. I want to know when this equals 0, right? Well, if one of these is 0, I win, right? Let's do number 4. What's AC? A times C. 6D. 19 is B, so we need factors of 60. Yikes. 1 and 60. 2 and 30. 3 and 20, 4 and 15, 5 and 12, 6 and 10, 7, nope, 8. 8 doesn't go into 60, it goes into 64, right? 9, no, 10, there. Time to stop, right? So 60 is a highly divisible number. Very composite, right? Very composite. Definitely not prime. So, which of these is going to get you 19? Now you got to be clever. 4 and 15. Now we want both positive, right? Both positive. So 4, 15. And we divide by A. What's A? 1 reduces. So we get divide by 5, 3 over 1. So these are the 2 I want. All right, so when does this equal 0? It's going to be 5x plus 4. And it's going to be 1x plus 3. Yeah.
Whenever we have problems like this, will we always have one that ends up like a number over 1?
Not always.
Not always.
Not always, no. Sometimes they're just going to be really gross looking.
Will we have problems like that?
All kinds of problems.
You don't like that face.
Let's take a look at, let's skip these. No, let's skip these. Let's do number 9. What's AC?
What? Oh, no.
15 times negative 6. Negative something, right?
60?
Well,
No, no.
it's 60 and 30, right? 90. Right? 6 times 10, 60, 6 times 5, 30. Add them together, right? All right, factors of negative 90 that add to negative 27. So we have 1 and 90. I don't bother with signs here. You guys see why.
I know what it is. It's
Now, 1 and 90, very far apart. Not going to give me that, right? 2 and 45, very far apart. Who cares? 3 and 30, very far apart, but separated by 27, right? So what we want is 3 and 30. Now, the question is, which signs are we going to use? One of them has to be negative, one has to be positive, right? So we get a negative answer when we multiply. Negative 30, positive 3. And we divide by A, which is 15. Can both be reduced? 1 over 5 and negative 2 over 1, right? Now notice, I put the negative with the 2. In theory, isn't negative 2 over 1 the same thing as 2 over negative 1? The same thing as negative 2 over 1, like that? Now the question is, which one does it go with, right? Do I put the negative with the 2 or the 1? Let's try it with the 2 and see if it's right.
Do it with both.
I think that's a good idea. We'll try it with both, see which way works.
Except it'll work.
So let's do, oh, whoops, negative 2 doesn't go with the x, my bad. We said 1 goes with the x, right? And 5 goes with the x. Minus 2 goes after it, and plus 1 goes after it. Cool? 1 with the x, 5 with the x, negative 2, 1. We good? Now, before I go on, let's check and see if this is actually the right factorization. If not, maybe I need to switch the negative down here, right? So I get x times 5x. What's that? 5x squared. Wait, what? X times 1, negative 2 times 5x. That's negative 10 plus 1, that's negative 9, or positive 9. Or negative 9, and that's minus 3. What do you notice about the original problem?
effed up, man.
This is like wrong.
No, what do you notice about the original?
Oh, you can 3.
You pull out a 3. You can pull out a 3. So you have to pull out first. So I'm going to rewrite that. Pull out 3. What does this become? 5x squared. What does this become? Minus 9x. What does this become? Okay, so the real question is, right? Does this get me that? X times 5x. Yeah. 1x minus 10x. Negative 2. So guys, we learned 2 things. 1, got to pull out first if you can. 2, the negative goes with the top number. Okay? Always. If we did with the bottom, we'd have this. And what will we get? We'd get negative 5x squared. Nope.
What are we doing wrong?
No, we're good, we're good, we're good. This works. Right? We had to pull out a 3 first, right? And this gets us that. Okay?
Be quiet.
Now, what will x equal? Well, that 3 doesn't change anything because it's all multiplication, right? If that's 0, who cares, right? If that's 0, who cares? So when will x be 0 here?
2.
X is 2 because 2 minus 2 is 0. When will x be 0 here?
Oh, dang.
1 over 5, right? 1 divided by 5 times 5 is 1. Is it negative or positive though? Negative 1/5. Solve if you're not sure, right? When does 5x plus 1 equal 0? Right? Here's the thing. Last time I showed you something easy like completing the square, which was not a trick. It was like straight up math, right? We proved it with geometry. You guys thought, oh, super easy, no big deal, and then you bombed the quiz, right? This is easy. It's nice if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, actually,
But you need practice to make sure you do. That's why I give you the answer key and lots of practice.
I actually paid attention.
Do not take this lightly. It is a portion of your quiz because we have a super quiz on Friday. Knock it out of the park. That way you're not retaking a quiz in the last week of the quarter, okay? Instead, you're retaking a quiz that you should have been retaking way earlier. Like quiz 1. Logan, how easy is quiz 1 to retake? Pretty freaking easy.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Whoa.
You should retake it.
I got a question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even I get it.
If I can get a good grade, you can't get a good grade.
Slower shot.
Air ball.
Air pen.
Got this.
Lob City.
Fit it in the paper.
Oh! I had closer. I got it closer. Girls, not gonna take it.
You got tiny little clips.
Yeah. Don't touch them. They're babies.
Yeah. You just walk up to like the infant area in the hospital, just touch babies.
Hey, you know what would be great, Mr. Matt?
What?
If you like walked into some kind of like concert thing or like guitar show.